Hello, and welcome to the Budget Knitter podcast channel. My name is WSpargurKnits. I am your host. I am coming to you from Las Vegas, Nevada, where I live with my 2 dogs and my husband. And today you may notice something a little bit different if you've been following for a while. I am using a lapel microphone. This was a gift that I received for my birthday. I'm giving it a shot because I noticed that sometimes my audio isn't exactly always level or consistent, and I thought the lapel microphone might really help me kind of keep things smooth and running, because I know that my levels can change a lot depending on how I'm speaking or what I'm talking about. And I thought this would just be a really great way to kind of rein in the audio. It might also help kind of remove a lot of additional background noise, so hopefully for any of you who might be hard of hearing, this will be a little bit easier for you. However, if you don't like the way this sounds, just let me know. We don't have to use it. I just kind of like it because I feel like I'm not screaming anymore. Even though the phone is only just right there, I did feel like I had to speak a little bit louder to get audio to the phone so that it would pick up everything. And if for some reason a loud car should go by, or there's children screaming in the background, or whatever might be happening, I could go in and out. You might not be able to hear me. So hopefully the lapel microphone is just going to make things smoother. It should also make things like my tutorials and my top-down videos and some of my other videos a little bit smoother in terms of audio. Which I do plan to film a few more top-down videos coming up here very soon. More details on that later. For those of you who are new, this is not how I've always sounded, so I'm kind of excited to see how this is going to work. I've never really used I'm kind of falling into using a little bit more technology in terms of how I can make my podcast better. But again, if you don't like it, we don't have to use it. It's just one of those things that I thought I'd give a shot. We're going to try it on this podcast. I have done a few tests with it, but the levels just kind of depend on what level I'm hearing it on my phone, and of course I'll probably have to adjust it a little bit in editing because it does pick up on every little sound within a certain range. So there will probably be some editing on my part. You might also hear me swallow a lot more, so that's just, I guess, the nature of the beast, but we'll see how things go. And I'm really excited about it, so I hope you are too. So for new people, you can find me on Ravelry as WSpargurKnits. You can find me on Instagram as WillMSU. You can find me on Twitter as WSpargurKnits. There's a Facebook group for this podcast, which is facebook.com/thebudgetknitter. And there's a Ravelry group for this podcast as well, which is the Budget Knitter Podcast. You can just search that in Ravelry and you can join up in there. And there are a couple of threads to bring your attention to if you're new, and for those of you who are seasoned subscribers. We have the Charity Along thread. I'm doing a Charity Along through the end of September. Anything that you make that you're going to donate to charity, as long as it is a finished object, it doesn't matter what craft it is, you can submit it to that thread, and there will be a prize winner or two at the end of that. But you have to submit a picture, you have to tell me what it is, and you have to tell me who you're donating it to, whether it be a person or an organization, a location, a building, a hospital, whatever it might be. You just need to let me know who you're donating it to. So I will determine prizes and everything closer to the end of the Charity Along, but I definitely wanted to get some stuff kind of up and going so that by the time September rolls around and you've got your finished objects, they're ready to be given to whoever they need to be given to before the holiday season really starts. So that's one. I'm actually working on one thing that I plan to give to that, which I will show you later in the podcast. There are several people who have been posting in that thread already. Some wonderful, gorgeous blankets have been coming into that thread, and a lot of them are by one person, so some of you might want to catch up a little bit. if you intend to put anything in there, of course. Now, if there's going to be more than one prize winner, you cannot win more than once. If you win, you win, and then it's open to everyone else, but you can't win all of the prizes. Just making that clear. Another one is the questions for the Budget Knitter thread. I tried to do some question and answer videos, and I think those are a really fun way for me to get to know you guys and for you to get to know me. So there's a thread in there where you can ask me anything about my knitting journey or my fiber arts journey, or just about me in general, about my life. The only stipulation is you also have to answer that question. So that thread is there as well. And the third one I want to bring your attention to is the Finished Objects of 2018. We are celebrating the finishing of any object, craft, whatever that may be, from January 1st to December 31st of this year. Anything you finish, you can post in there. There is no giveaway or anything associated with that thread. It is just the community coming together to celebrate the finishing of objects, because I don't think people really get enough credit for what they finish. It takes so much time and so much work, and there's so much energy that goes into creating these beautiful, beautiful things, even the simplest of things, and I don't think people get enough credit and praise for that, so that's what I try to do with that thread. I've been in there a little bit recently. We've been kind of slow on finished objects recently, which I have too. But hopefully that's going to pick up again here as as the summer kind of starts to wind down a little bit and the holiday season starts to approach. I'm hoping to see a lot more finished objects. So that thread is there as well. The last thing is, I do have an Etsy store. It's thebudgetknitter.etsy.com. I sell hand-dyed yarn, and I sell handmade stitch markers and progress keepers, and there's a few finished objects in there as well, just some things that I finished that I have no need for, but I thought some of you might like. I do try to keep my prices very competitive, very affordable. I know that it's still not accessible to everyone, but I am trying to reach this audience, which is people who are on a budget, so I'm hoping that those are accessible. I also want to point out that my Etsy store is non-profit. I don't keep any of that money. I don't use it for anything except for the business. I take the money that I receive and I turn around and I buy more for the inventory, and I try to expand my yarn bases and my colors. So if you're worried about, what kind of money I'm making off of it, I'm actually not making any money off of it. It just goes right back into the business, which is how I can keep my prices as cheap as they are. I know there are other dyers out there who aren't much more expensive than me, but I do try to keep my yarn affordable, because I personally think that nobody should be kept from being able to have something nice. So Etsy store, thebudgetknitter.etsy.com. There's going to be a link in the video description box below if you're interested in popping by. There is some yarn in there right now. I'm waiting on some deliveries of bare yarn. I had to switch a couple of suppliers because my other suppliers have been sold out for a while, and I needed to get some more. So I think one of them is actually shipping from the United Kingdom, so it could be a little bit before it gets here. But don't worry, stay tuned. There will be more coming for you. Okay. So, moving right along, because I know you guys want to get to the good stuff. And again, we're going to continue with the format that I've been doing the last couple of podcasts, which is to put all the life updates at the end. So for those of you who are not interested in the things that are going on in my personal life, you can cut away there when we're done with the knitting portion. But for those of you who like to stay and watch and listen to the things that are going on in my life, that'll be at the end of the podcast. So let's go straight into my works in progress. I have several really cool things to show you, and I'm really excited about it. So the first thing I want to show you is the socks that I mentioned on my last podcast, but I didn't have them with me. I think I had left them in another room. So this is in my knitting unicorn bag. I picked this up at a local yarn store in Lexington, Kentucky in April when I went home to visit my family. I just had a really good time there. So I'll show the finished one first. So I have one done, and I think this is probably my favorite sock that I've ever knit. I just love the way it has knit up, and it's a little small for me, but I am giving this to a coworker. They fit her perfectly. But here's the second one. I've got the heel turned, and I am maybe about 5 inches from doing the ribbing and then the bind off. So this is actually going really, really well. I've picked up on it a little bit. I kind of neglected it for a little while because I had some other things I wanted to work on. But yeah, no, I'm really excited to get that done. I want my needle back so I can start the next pair of socks. So I know it's for a lot of people, especially who haven't done sock knitting, or for those who do sock knitting, it's really important to kind of, at least to me, to go over the formula. So this, first off, I will say this is knit on Carlton yarn. It is a 75% wool, 25% nylon. I'm wondering if I have that yarn label or if I threw it away. Oh, here it is. I've shown it a couple times, but you know, it never hurts to show it more than once. So, Carlton sock weight yarn, 75% superwash wool, 25% nylon, 459 yards, and 100 grams. Let's see, it says color 14, and it's lot number 2, if the lot number is important to you as well. But I love it. This is knit on US 2s, which is 2.75 millimeter. I do a Judy's Magic cast on for the toe. I do start with 12 stitches. I increase up to 64 stitches in total. Then I switch over to and I do the toe on 2 circulars. I do magic loop, but with 2 circulars. I don't like 1 circular. And then 64, then I knit the foot. Then I do a German short row heel. And then I finish that off, and I just knit the rest of the way up the leg. Do 1x1 ribbing with a yarn over bind off. I love the yarn over bind off because it is super stretchy. I don't really mind the flare. Somebody told me if I did it in pattern that it wouldn't flare with the yarn over bind off, but I just haven't. I'll do that on the next pair. I'll give that a shot. But for this one, I'm going to make a match. Excuse me. So yeah, definitely one of the favorite pairs of socks I have ever knit. I expect these to be done in the next couple weeks because I am going to try and put in a lot of work on this. Okay. I can't remember if I told you, I do the rest of it on a 9-inch circular except for the heel, which I use 1 circular. Like if it was a straight needle, I just go back and forth on the short row heel, and then when I'm done with the heel, I put it all back on the 9-inch circular and work my way around again. Okay, next thing. So I started a new shawl pattern, and I'm really excited about it. This is one I also, for making a purchase of fingering weight yarn at one of the stores in Lexington, Kentucky, I was given a shawl pattern. It was part of the local yarn store deal. And this shawl is called Adventura or Adventura. I don't really exactly know how it's pronounced, but this is by Laura Nelkin. It is a beautiful pattern. It is a paid-for pattern, so I can't really give you a whole lot of the details. What I will say, though, is that this pattern is a 3-in-1. So the first half of the shawl is all knit exactly the same. It is a very specific type of build. So the first half of the 3 different types is the exact same. And then you have a choice of whether or not you want to knit basic stockinette, you want to knit an open eyelet lace, or you want to knit a pine cone lace. And it's basically beginner, intermediate, advanced, however you decide that you want to knit the second half. And so I'm going to do the second one, which is the open eyelet lace. But let me show you what I got going so far. This over here. So it doesn't look like much, but I guarantee you that it is. And the build is really interesting. Even though it looks triangle, if you look at the way the stitching is constructed, it builds in a very interesting sort of way. It is a triangle shawl, but the build is probably the most interesting part of this. So the way it works is you start off with, I think, 3 stitches, and basically it has you do 2 increases on the right side and 1 decrease on the left side. So instead of starting in the center and building out like this, it starts here and it builds this way. It's a really, really interesting build, and I'm actually really enjoying it. The other thing that's one of my favorite parts of this is instead of doing a make one, which I think it's a make one right, instead of doing that, the pattern calls for reverse yarn overs, and then you purl them through the front loop. You purl them through the front, just purl them as usual, but it creates a much, I know make one rights are usually a very tight increase, but doing the reverse yarn over actually keeps it a very loose increase, and so you don't end up getting where the edge stays straight instead of kind of turning on itself, which is something that I noticed with a different shawl that I knit, was that the border edge was tight, and so it created a curve instead of a straight line, and it was really hard to block out. But this creates a nice straight line, and I think it's going to block out really well. The yarn I'm using is Plymouth Yarn Company's Milano, 51% Egyptian cotton and 49% merino wool. This is super soft. I love the way it's knitting up. It's not incredibly tightly spun, but it is really nice. It's 50 grams, 145 yards, and it is spun in Italy. It is color 49. So I only have this because you can do two sizes. You can either do one that calls for 2 skeins of each color, or you can do one that just calls for 1 skein of each color. I'm going to do the small one because, again, this is Vegas. I have no need for a massive shawl. But, so I'm going to use one. The one ball I have is actually 50 grams plus, like, I think another 25 grams. So I'm going to use that, so about 75 grams to knit the first half. And then the other thing I'm going to use, oh wait, put that back. The other thing I want to use for the second half is over here. It is this. This is roving silk. This came in a stash of yarn that my mom had gotten me. And if you've ever been on Instagram and kind of scrolling through and occasionally an ad will pop up, it's an Instagram ad for Darn Good Yarn. It's the $10 subscription box, and a lot of people have complained about it. I haven't looked into getting it because I really don't feel a need. But they make a lot of really interesting yarns, and they're all hand-spun, recycled yarns made by women in, I want to say, some of the, like, island nations, maybe like Indonesia or something like that. It's a yarn that is, well, every purchase kind of helps, like, educate women in third world countries. So regardless of the quality of the yarn, you're doing a good thing when you subscribe to them. Anyway, this is roving silk. It's 100% silk. It's recycled silk yarn. And it's in a rainbow colorway, and I just, I didn't really have anything else that I thought I would use it for, and I thought it might look nice in this shawl. And so this is what I'm going to use for the second half when I get there. This is more of a DK weight, so it probably won't knit up exactly the way I imagine, but I did want to use it, and I thought it would look really nice in this, and it might kind of create a cool contrast using a fingering weight, or I guess that's more of a light DK. Light DK with a heavy DK. This could even be worsted, but I think it'll create a cool contrast, and I'm really excited to get to that point. So I'm diligently working on that. That's the one I take to work with me now. Oh, I am knitting this on US 8 needles with a decently long cord, just so that it has enough room to kind of spread out when I want to kind of look at it. Next, what do we have? I'm working on a couple of granny stripe blankets because, well, just because. So the first one I'm making out of Lion Brand Homespun. I really don't like this stuff, and I've tried knitting it before, and I hated it. So we switched to doing crochet. And crocheting it is a little easier. It doesn't want to stretch the way I want it to, but so really the top is the bottom, and the bottom is the working edge. But granny stripe blanket, this is 90 stitches across. Is that right? No. Yes? 90? I think that's right. I think it's 90 stitches across. Anyway, so I'm working on that. I've got a few different colors of this. I just thought I'd kind of create a scrappy blanket because I didn't know what else to do with this, and then I'll probably just give it to somebody. This is not one I intend to donate to charity. This is just one to kind of use up the yarn, and maybe I'll give it to, as a housewarming gift to somebody. There's not really much to say about it. I think the hook I'm using a 7mm hook. This doesn't label it anything other than the millimeters, so I don't know what number or letter that is for like US sizes and junk. But yeah, I'm working on that. I don't have much to say about it. It's just kind of one of those things that I pick up when I'm not really doing anything else. So it's just there. It is what it is. The other one is stuck down here. Okay. This one's going to be a little harder to show. This is the first granny stripe blanket I'm working on. I don't know how much of this you can see. So, I've been working on this for about a week or two. This is really chunky yarn. This is like, I think, a number 5, or maybe even a 6. But, so this purple at the bottom, that is this yarn called Kuka, K-U-K-A. I have some more of it in a drawer, but it's not really accessible right now. But it's a 100% acrylic. It's like a 12-ply acrylic, and it's loosely spun. I keep splitting it. So, wasn't a huge fan of it. It's a little rough, but I had 8 skeins of it and didn't know what else I was going to do with it, so I figured blanket. So then this middle section here is Lion Brand Woolies Thick and Quick. Oh, wait. Lion Brand Woolies Chunky. It is 80% acrylic and 20% wool. So there's... excuse me. There's a little bit of natural fiber in here, but it's mostly acrylic. This is definitely softer, but I think I only had 4 balls of that. And I'm on ball number 3. So this blanket may not be as long as I intended it to be. So now I'm starting to think about what can I add. Because I wanted it to be purple, black, purple, but I thought it was going to be longer. And so now I'm thinking I'm going to have to find another thing, or I'm going to have to go buy more of the black, because I really did just want it to be purple, black, purple. But maybe I can pick a third color. Maybe I can do like this pink in there or something. I'll have to kind of see what I have. I could use maybe that, well, you can't see it, but I can. There's a blue and white self-striping up there. Maybe I could use something like that. Or I can always find some acrylic and hold that double, or some acrylic like worsted and hold that double and make another section. But yeah, anyway, I actually really like this. This is also 90 stitches across, but because I'm using an 8mm hook on this one, so it's slightly larger. And I think this was going to be intended to fit like a twin or full bed, but we're going to have to see how far I get in terms of length before I decide what size bed it's going to fit. But yeah, no, this is really fun. This is the first granny stripe blanket I've ever made. I've made a granny square blanket. Oh, that probably got all up in that mic. I have made a granny square blanket, but not a granny stripe blanket. So this is new to me, and I hope I'm going to enjoy it when it's done. Oh, this is the one that will be donated to charity when I'm done. I haven't picked a charity yet because I'm trying to find a local one. It's kind of hard to come across decent local charities here that accept handmade items that then don't turn around and also sell them. I want to donate to an organization that's going to like hand them out. Or I'm just going to go have to do it myself, which I guess is fine. I don't mind doing that. Oh, one more not finished. One more work in progress, which is in this. I have talked about this before. I am so sorry. I keep hitting this mic. This might be the reason that we don't end up using the mic anymore. Okay, so I've shown this before, but I've gotten a little bit further with it. So the first things first. This is the Architecture Scarf by Jennifer Weissman. This is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful scarf. Basically, you're just using different types of stitches, like ribbing and seed stitch and stockinette, to create this beautiful textured scarf. And I have gotten a little bit further with this. I don't remember where it was the last time I showed it, but this is how far I've gotten. and you can really kind of see what I'm talking about. So you've got some ribbing, you've got some stockinette, you've got some seed stitch in here. This is really a beautiful, beautiful scarf. I love the point. I love the way this is working. I've started to enjoy the knit a little bit more. I'm definitely what's called a progress knitter. I like to cast on, I like to have a lot of projects going at once, and I like to bind off. The process is not necessarily important to me as long as I can get done. Sometimes I just get bored with a project really easily, which is why this has sat for a little while. But yeah, I picked it back up, and I started to think about just enjoying the knit, getting across the row and learning how it's constructed and learning how to read the knitting so that I didn't have to continuously look at the pattern and go, okay, what row am I on? And when I started to think about that and think about where I was going with everything, the knit became much more enjoyable. So I'm actually really excited to continue knitting on this. This is actually from my friend Jeff. He gave me this yarn for Christmas and said he wanted something knit out of it, which is great because I think it's kind of awesome that you buy something, give it to someone, and then you get it right back because I'm not going to keep it. Just give me the yarn and I will knit it. Alright, so I'm using this DHFZ Milk Cotton 100% acrylic. This is one of those yarns that you can buy on Wish. It's an app. It's super cheap stuff from China. It was like $1 for 5 skeins. Now, don't get me wrong. I love yarn on a budget. This is really cheap yarn. Now, granted, it's also really soft yarn. It's just really splitty, and I've had to kind of concentrate on making sure that I don't split the yarn when I'm knitting it. But other than that, it feels sturdy, it feels soft, it's knitting up beautifully. Let me show you that again. Just kind of look at the way the colors are pooling, and they're just creating this beautiful, beautiful garment or object. This is just absolutely gorgeous. I say what you want about cheap yarns. I think this is actually working out really well. I'm excited to finish this, and I'm excited to show it to you when I'm finished with it. I'm excited to block it out and really kind of bring it to life. So, again, say what you want about cheap yarns. I think cheap yarns can, they can work wonders. Just be careful what you're buying and look for reviews, but personally, you do you. You find something that works, and if it works for you, I say go with it. Okay. I don't know how long I've been rambling anymore. Oh, that's being knit on US 5s. It calls for US 4s, but I find that I'm a little bit of a tighter knitter. So I started on 4s, but I didn't like it, so I moved to 5s, and it's fine. It'll block out. So, yeah, I have that going. So US 5s for that, which I don't know the millimeter, and I don't want to pull that back out. Okay, so let's move on to the finished objects. I have a few to show you. The first I'm going to show you is the hat I was knitting out of my pumpkin spice colorway, which was more of a demonstration of the way the yarn knit up, because this is one of my hand dyeds. So I know that a couple of people have mentioned that they want to see how the yarn knits up before they make a purchase. So this hat is that. I guess I'm going to call it finished. I had intended to put a pom-pom on this one, but I realized that I don't really want one just because of the way it fits. But, so this is essentially now a finished object. And so it fits. It's a little tight. It's a little tight because of the way that I decided to decrease the crown, which was instead of doing actual decreases. I think I started with 108 stitches. I did knit 2 together all the way around to decrease to 54. Then I strung the yarn through all of those 54 stitches and I just pulled it tight. And it's not awful. I just wish I'd knit a little bit longer before I decided to do that. I didn't realize how much of the length I would lose when I did that. Not a big deal though. It is finished. Well, I have some ends to weave in. I left the ends at the top long because I had intended to add a pom-pom, and I just haven't. So I'll probably just weave those in, because I don't think I'm going to add a pom-pom to this one. I kind of like what it looks like now. This is 100% Peruvian Highland wool. Again, this is the pumpkin spice colorway. That is my hand-dyed yarn. That hand-dyed yarn is 100 grams for 274 yards, and it is a sport weight yarn. I did 108 stitches, 2x2 ribbing, and then stockinette for the rest of the hat. So, yeah, first finished object. The second finished object is my second hat that I was knitting up, for those of you who wanted to see what my fishbowl colorway looked like when it was completed. And this one, I did add a pom-pom too. So I'm definitely proud of this as well. I love the way that it fits. I love that it's a little more loose. I love that it, well, I got a pom-pom so I can do this. Okay. That's literally the only reason I added a pom-pom to this. This fits much better. This is worsted weight yarn. This is knit on US 5s for the ribbing and US 7s for the rest of the hat. It is 2x2 ribbing followed by stockinette. I did the simple crown decreases. So I started with 100. I decided to break it up into 10 stitches to do my decreases. So I would knit 9, knit 2 together, knit 9, slip, slip, knit. Wait, no, that's not right. Knit 8, knit 2 together, because you need to decrease 2 9 stitches. So knit 8, knit 2 together, knit 8, slip, slip, knit, and then alternated. I decided to do knit 2s and slip, slip knits because I kind of wanted a different kind of look, which unfortunately wouldn't show up on camera, but it does kind of create a really cool decreased look. But there's a different kind of crown decrease I want to try the next time I knit a hat. Anyway, there's my pom-pom. I love the way that turned out. It's super gorgeous. This is 100% superwash merino. It is, again, worsted weight. I don't remember how tall this one. This is actually a little taller than I intended, but I'm okay with that. So, again, this is my fishbowl colorway. This I need to be dyeing more of. I've got yarn on the way, so I can dye more of this because I know this was really popular. So don't worry about that. There is more coming, if you want some. Third finished object. Yeah, I have more. It's my second Veni Vidi Vici shawl, written by Megan. She's my friend who is living over in Egypt at the moment. It is gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. This was a wonderful pattern to test knit. I showed the first one in a previous podcast. This is my second one. The pattern calls for fingering weight yarn. I actually knit this on sport weight yarn, and I did, since I knew that the gauge would be bigger, because I went up 3 needle sizes. Since I knew the gauge would be much wider, I actually didn't follow the pattern to a T. I about cut it in half. So where she tells you to have a certain number of stitches on each needle before doing the first eyelet section, I cut that about in half. And when blocked out and put side by side, the two shawls are almost identical in size. So that was a good call on my part. I really enjoyed this. It is available now. I will put a link in the video description box below so that you can go pick that up. I believe it is a $5 pattern, but I guarantee you, you are going to want to purchase this pattern. It is super easy. It's garter stitch and eyelets. Anybody can knit this. Anybody can knit this. Beginners can knit this. It's great for advanced people who maybe just want to work on their speed. This is a great knit, and for those of you who are going to use fingering weight yarn, it only uses 1 skein of fingering weight yarn. So if you've got that weird one that you don't know what to do with, or you just need to kind of use up your stash and you've only got one of certain colorways, this is the pattern. This is a gorgeous pattern. I love the V shape. It keeps the fabric from bunching up around your neck, so you can wear it when it's slightly warmer outside and it won't be nearly as constricting and hot. So this is the pattern for you. This is another one of my hand dyeds. This is Mount St. Helens. Now, for some reason, this yarn didn't want to hold my color very well, and when I was trying to block it, it started to bleed. And I don't know why. But it did maintain a lot of the integrity. It's just a little pinker than I wanted it. But it still looks great. I'm very, very pleased with how this turned out. And I think the content of this yarn was 50% merino, 50% viscose from bamboo, which makes it very soft, very squishy. The only thing is it's kind of slippery, and it doesn't really... You know how wool kind of plumps up sometimes when you block it? This didn't do that. So I don't know. It's still soft though, and I still love wearing it. Okay, are you ready for my final finished object? Because it's really important, and some of you are going to realize what that means. So... I finished, well, mostly finished my flax sweater, my second flax sweater. I have finished both sleeves. I have finished everything. I have just not woven in my ends or closed up the holes under the sleeves because for those of you who are knitting this for our knit along, that is my next video, which means the update is coming soon. I'm filming it this week. So be ready, because as soon as that video goes live, you have 2 months to finish your flax sweaters, okay? And then you've got to post it in the finished cowl thread, the finished flax cowl thread, to be entered for prizes. So, here's mine. I'm done. You have to be done soon too. So I want to show a little bit more details about this. So it's got this beautiful garter panel that goes down the top of the sleeve and the shoulder. And it's stockinette all the way around. It is a top-down pattern. It is raglan increases. And for mine, I chose to do twisted rib cuffs on all of it, except for the top, because I didn't think about it when I was knitting the top of this. But I did do twisted rib on both sleeves and the bottom of the sweater. And another little detail I did is on either side of this garter panel, I did a twisted knit stitch on either side just to add a little bit more definition between the sleeve and the stockinette, or the garter and the stockinette. So those are little details I added. Those are not in the pattern. You do not have to do those. Those are personal choices I made. If you were interested in those, they are in the knit along tutorial videos, and you can check those out. If you have not knit a flax sweater, but you want to join in the knit along, again, you have 2 months. I promise you can knit one of these in 2 months. If you're diligent and you really want it, you can do this. It is a very easy pattern. I go over everything in the tutorials, and if you have any questions, please ask. I'm more than happy to answer questions regarding this pattern because it is a great first sweater. It looks great on everyone. They have sizes ranging from infant to I think like 4XL, so anybody can wear this sweater. It is gorgeous. You should knit it. Even if you don't knit it for the knit along, you should still knit this pattern. It is free. It is called Flax, F-L-A-X, but Tin Can Knits. It is a pattern on Ravelry. You should knit it. It's gorgeous. It's a lot of fun. You can use all kinds of different types of yarn. This is line brand Mandala in their Chimera colorway. Chimera colorway. And, well, except for this, which I can't remember, I ran out of yarn, so I started using scraps to finish the sleeve. But, yeah, gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. This is a DK weight. The pattern calls for worsted, but we go over swatching and everything for gauge, so knowing that this gauge worked out, it actually fits nearly perfectly. I think there's only one thing I'm not too happy with, but other than that, it's not that I'm not happy with it, it's just a little bit tighter than I thought it would be, but other than that, it's gorgeous, it's perfect, you should knit this. Guys, that's all my finished objects. I had 4 finished objects this week. That's insane for me. And the weird thing is, all of the works in progress I showed you, that's all the works in progress I have. When I started this channel, I said I never have more than 5 works in progress going, that I have to finish something first. I'm back down to 5, because at one point I had like 10, 12, 15 going. I'm back down to 5 works in progress. That's it. 5 works in progress. That's insane. I have done so much knitting, and I can't wait to do more. I'm so excited. Okay, so I also have some new stuff I want to show you. So we're getting close to the end of the knitting portion, but I do have some new stuff I want to show you that's really exciting. So the first thing is, I got my needles. I got my Spargurs. I love them. I love them so much. Thank you, Mom. This was my birthday present. This is what she got me. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I did keep some of my Knitter's Pride needles because I do, there are several projects that I work on, or several times I'll find myself using the same size needle, or I'll need them more than once, and I'm that person that's too lazy to take the needles off of an interchangeable set. So I did keep some of my more commonly used sizes in my Knitter's Pride. I'm losing things. Oh no. Okay. So, but other than that, all Spargur. Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. I cannot thank my mom enough for this. This is why I've been knitting so much, is because I got these Spargurs. Love it. It comes in this beautiful case. It's got this pocket up here that holds so much. I want to show you some of the other stuff it comes with. So first thing is it comes with a needle gauge and ruler. Very handy. This is actually all of my cables for my Knitter's Pride needles. I made this little thing for them because I didn't have a little Ziploc to put them in. So I just kind of folded some paper over and taped it closed. So because of the different needle sizes, they have different cord sizes. So here they have large that have larger ends for the larger needles, and then they have the small cables, which are all the same lengths. They come in certain lengths, but the screw ends pieces are larger or smaller depending on which. I think 2 through 8 is on the smalls, and 9 through 15s are on the largest. So that's all in there as well. It comes with all of your end stoppers and your T-pins, which are basically your cords, the things you use to hold the cord in place so that you can tighten the needles down. So all of that. And then it also comes with stitch markers. Look at these. Aren't these pretty? I love these. These are just these gorgeous little plastic rings in different colors and different sizes so that they fit on your different sized needles. And it's really rare to find... Let me take some of these out. It's really hard to find sometimes needles that fit, or stitch markers that fit your like US 15 needles. So this is what I would consider like a normal size stitch marker. But then look at this one. This will fit your US 15 needles. I'm so happy that they included these in the set, because most of the time if I'm using needles that big, I have to make a stitch marker like out of yarn or something, because nothing fits those needles. But Spargur thought of that, and they put these in here. My mom, I think she bought these on Amazon, and it was about $130 for the set. I got the full set. They make a set that's just the 2 through 8s, and they make a set that's just the 9 through 15s. You can buy those separately, but my mom is awesome, and she bought me the full set. I can't thank her enough. I love these. These are fantastic, and I will use them until I die. The only thing about this front pocket is the stuff doesn't like to go back in very well once I've taken it out, because I put it in there, get it all organized, then I take something out, and then I have to take it all out to put it back in. Anyway, so really nice case. It's this wonderful fabric. It's very sturdy. I'm very pleased with these. So another thing that I got for my birthday is this. This is a stand where I can hook my phone up right here, and I can film my top-down videos. I don't have to hang my phone precariously from a mic stand or anything like that. This is it. I just set this on the table, I put my phone in here, I set it at the height that I need, and I go to work. And this is going to become super helpful because I have so many ideas for tutorial videos coming up in the future, including on some patterns that I wrote myself. Shh, that's a secret. We're not going to talk about the patterns I wrote until I'm done working on them. But, so this is going to come in handy. I'm going to use this to film the last update for the flax sweater. So I'm really excited to use this. I can't thank my dad enough. This is exactly what I needed. It arrived. It was a surprise. This is it was on my wish list. I'd been thinking about getting it for so long, and I just hadn't, and then it showed up at my door. I am so thrilled with this. This is perfect. So thank you, Dad, for this wonderful, wonderful gift. And then, excuse me, goodness. So a little while back, someone had let me know that they were going through a very tough time. I don't want to give details because I don't know how much they want anyone to know about this, but this person was going through a very tough time, and I sent them some yarn to try to brighten their day a little bit. And in return, which I was not expecting, by the way, so thank you. You know who you are. I know who you are. In return, they sent me this care package, and this is loud, so I'm going to take it out. This is Lolo Did It yarn. It is one of a kind. It's called Aliens. This is her sock yarn, I think. Everyday sock. It's on her everyday sock base, which is... Does she not put the content on here? Oh, here it is. 75% superwash merino and 25% nylon. It is 100 grams and 463 yards. Fingering weight, 4-ply. But it also came with a little owl progress keeper, which is so cute. And then to match it, it came with 2 mini skeins. This one is... Oh my gosh. I don't know how to pronounce that. And I think this is Gael, Gael. Sasseuach, I think. I don't know. I think that's what that is. Anyway, so these together with this, which is called Aliens. It is a one-of-a-kind skein, so I'm assuming this was kind of an experimental colorway. And this wonderful owl progress keeper. So she sent me this as thanks for helping her get through a difficult time. So thank you, thank you, thank you. This is wonderful. I haven't decided what I'm going to do with it yet. Probably not socks. This isn't the kind of yarn that I tend to like to use for socks, but I will find something to use this for. But, speaking of other things that I have received, I want to talk about something that I received a while ago, and I kept forgetting to mention it on the podcast. And a few podcasts ago, I mentioned a Etsy store called Frayed Knot Bags. Fraydknot bags. And she was going to send me a bag. Well, it had come in, and I just kept forgetting it to talk about it on the podcast. So, here it is. It is the medium unicorn bag. This is so, so, so cute. It is a zipper bag. And it's got a beautiful, beautiful fabric on the inside. And it does spread out for that, like, boat, the boat bottom bag. Just like that. This is so cute, guys. I cannot... thank you enough. I think your name's Madeline. I had it written down, but I think I typed it on my phone, and of course I'm using my phone to record. So, I believe her name is Madeline, but Frayed Knot Bags. It's an Etsy store. This is gorgeous. She has so many beautiful fabrics. I highly encourage you to go check out her project bags. This is the medium. She does have small and she does have large. And to me, I believe they're reasonably priced. This was $25. So I think that's reasonably priced considering, you know, you're paying for somebody's amazing craftsmanship and you're getting such a wonderful bag. So I think it's reasonable. So go check her out. Beautiful, beautiful shop, beautiful fabrics, beautiful work. That is Frayed Knot Bags. I'll leave a link in the video description box below. I have one other thing to show you. Oops. I have one other thing to show you in terms of things I've received. This was a birthday present, and I am really, really thrilled with this. I gotta get them out. They're kind of tucked away. So this is from Jessica Fisher, and she made these for me for my birthday. And they are Harry Potter inspired progress keepers. They're little owls. Look! Oh, that is so cute. Hold on, there's another one. I think this might be the same owl, but they're so cute. Oh, yeah, these are the same owl. Well, this is a different one, but there's two of each owl. So look, oh, they're adorable. I love them. Oh, thank you so much, Jessica. I received them a while ago, but I think the last time I filmed, I didn't have them yet. I think they had come in just like the day or two after I had filmed my last podcast. So this is the first time you guys are seeing them. By the way, I also want to apologize that this video is really late. I couldn't film over the weekend, so I'm filming this now. So sorry about that. I tried to diligently stay on schedule, but I just couldn't this time. Anyway, thank you, Jessica, so much for those stitch markers. Those are for the Progress Keepers. They're so cute, so cute, and I look forward to using them here very soon. Okay. Oh, so just a couple of my favorite things real quick. Jewelry making supplies, like lobster claws and the wires and the beads and stuff like that. I love that. I've been really getting into making stitch markers, and I don't know why, but there's just something about making those that is just, it's quick, it's simple, and it looks great. So I've been making a bunch of new stitch markers for my Etsy store. If you're interested in about the things in my Etsy store, I'm actually going to make a separate video that shows you kind of the yarn and talks a little bit about my store and what inspires me, and a little bit more about, you know, kind of how I run things. But I'll also show you some of the yarn and some of the stitch markers and progress keepers that I've made. So if you're interested in that, stay tuned for that video. It'll be up on my channel, I don't know yet, but I plan to do a little bit more with that, is kind of just showing you what's coming up in my Etsy store. So yeah, I love jewelry making supplies, one of my favorite things. Another thing that I really love, which is really bad for me, I love sugar cookie dough. I was grocery shopping and I was in the lunch meat aisle, which happens to be where the cookie dough is at my local Smith's. And I just saw a tube of sugar cookie dough, and I kind of bought it, and then I kind of just eat a little bit of it. I don't bake cookies, I just eat dough. And it's really bad for me, but it's one of my favorite things, and I can't help it. But it's so good. Yeah, it's a problem, but you know what? It's not a problem if I don't say it's a problem. Okay. So for those of you who are only here for the knitting, or the crocheting, or the yarn, or the fiber stuffs, then you are more than welcome to just click away and go about your merry day. For those of you that want to stick around, I'm going to give you some life updates. But for those of you that we're saying bye to, thank you for tuning in. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you want to see more from my channel. I do podcasts every 2 weeks as often as I can, and then I do some other stuff in there like knit-alongs and some other fun little videos. So subscribe if you want to see more of that. So for those of you who are staying, things are going to get a little sad for a moment. So, Lee, my husband, is in Florida right now. His dad went into the hospital about a month ago with double pneumonia and has been in a medically induced coma since he got there. And things have not gone well. After a while, his kidneys went into kidney failure and dialysis wasn't working to treat it. So Lee held off for a little bit on going down to see them, to see his dad, because it was one of those things where they didn't know kind of where things were going, and he's like, I can only afford to go down there once, so, you know, it's got to be serious if I'm going to go. So he left yesterday because the doctors have pretty much said there's nothing else we can do. He's in do not resuscitate status. And as of a few hours ago, they took him off of all comfort medication, and he is now just on morphine and oxygen. they will be most likely turning off the machines on Saturday, which is a big deal because he had been trying to turn his life around. He had quit smoking, he had tried to be healthier, he'd been doing a lot of things in his life to improve his life, and it just seems that it was all in vain. Because he had had a double lung transplant, like they had replaced both of his lungs, and they just rejected. They just rejected being in there. They decided that they didn't want to be in there anymore, and they filled with fluid, and he is essentially, they've got the breathing tube on to continue getting him oxygen, but when it's time, he will suffocate. He will suffocate, and there's nothing they can really do about it. So, a lot of seriousness going on right now. I'm still here in Nevada, trying to take care of things on this end, while Lee deals with this stuff. There's a lot of drama that goes along with it, which I'm not going to get into because it's not really important to me. But it's a stressful situation, and it's just one of those things where I have to think about, how am I going to keep my head up? How am I going to offer him the support while also knowing that he's dealing with a lot and isn't really, he's got blinders on right now. He can't see the good that's being offered. Everything, every kind word that tries to get said is just kind of like, please stop talking to me. Like, I know you mean well, but just please stop. And, that's tough, because how do you give comfort to someone who doesn't want to hear you comfort them? It's difficult to do nothing, but at the same time, doing nothing is probably the best thing I can do right now, which is just to kind of sit and wait. So that's what's going on with that. So, very stressful, lot to deal with. On a different note, my car's air conditioning blower fan stopped working, and that's a repair I can't afford. I also found out I have an oil leak that costs more to fix than my car is worth, but since it's so slow, the leak is so slow, it's not really going to matter. You're not going to notice. So there's that. They did an alignment on my car, and they fixed the wheels, but now the steering wheel's crooked. And I asked them about it, and given the history of the vehicle where I hit a curb and broke some things, they said, your wheels are straight, but we can't get your wheels straight and your steering wheel straight. It just, they won't work together. So, and it's not even, like, if this is flat, it's like here. It's really not hugely noticeable. It's just one of those things where I take it in, I get it back, I'm like, that's not right. But it is what it is. So yeah, I am looking at the possibilities of trying to get a new vehicle by the end of the year. There's a few things I need to work on in terms of getting that taken care of, but I am looking at a new vehicle purchase. So at that point, I was like, I'll just drive with the windows down. It's fine. I really only go to work in my car anyway, and if I just have to suffer through like 2 months of not having a blower fan, then, while the weather is hot, I can make it 2 months. I'm not really going a whole lot of anywhere. So, I'll deal with it. It's fine. It is what it is. Do you have any other life updates? Do I feel like I'm screaming? I feel like I'm screaming again. I really don't mean to. I don't think I do. I think that was kind of it. Yeah, my car and Lee's dad. Oh, there's a podcast viewer in town this week, and we're actually going to meet up tomorrow, and we're going to just chat and knit. So again, if any of you ever come to Las Vegas, please feel free to reach out. I would love to meet you guys. So what is going on? What is making noise? Something's making noise. Anyway, so yeah, if you're ever in Las Vegas, drop by. I would absolutely love to meet you. So, anyway, I think that's all I have for you. I'm sorry that kind of ended on a sad note. That was not the intention, even though that's really, I tend to not have a lot of happy life updates. So sorry. Oh, wait, no, I guess I could give you one of these. I played piano at my church this past weekend. I have a regular church gig where I normally play like flute or saxophone or I sing, but the pianist was out of town, and I filled in at the last minute, and it went really well. I was actually really excited about it. I was afraid. I haven't really played piano in a really long time, and I was really nervous that it wasn't going to go well. So, but it went well. I was able to learn the music, and things ran really smoothly, and people seemed to enjoy that I was there and substituting in. So, no, that was a really good thing. I'm really excited about that. And the music director was like, "Hey, I'll slip you a little extra cash for doing this for me." So that's a win-win. So yeah, that's the good life update. That, and I'm gonna go eat more cookie dough. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me. This has probably been a little bit of a longer podcast than I've posted in a while, but I really want to thank you for sticking through it, and for those of you that stuck around for the life updates. Don't worry, I'm okay. I will get through it. There's a quote from a movie that said, "We have an inherent ability to heal. We intend on living, or we insist on living through the worst pain, or even through the worst heartache. We're intent on living." Something along those lines. I can't remember the exact quote, but I will be okay. So thank you in advance for your well wishes. But anyway, I'm gonna go and eat more cookie dough. And actually, I think I was watching Bones before I filmed this. I think I'm gonna go back and watch some more Bones. So thank you. Like this video and subscribe to my channel if you haven't subscribed to my channel before. And I post new videos every 2 weeks, and sometimes a little bit more often than that. So hopefully you enjoy this content. If you have any questions for me, you can leave comments below the video, or you can go to the Ravelry thread and leave questions for me in there as well. So I will see you all again very soon. Some things that are coming up. We have the Knit Along update coming up. I just received a Knit Crate shipment, so you're going to see an unboxing for that. And there's going to be an Etsy shop update as well. I'm going to do a video a little bit about what's in the store. So you can expect those things coming down the line very soon. Thank you again for joining me. I think I've thanked you about 8 times. I will see you again very, very soon here on the Budget Knitter podcast channel. Bye.